Hello everyone, and welcome back to part 5 of the How to Make a Five Nights at Freddy's tutorial in Scratch. Let's get started. This is episode 5, and today we are going to be covering Custom Night and your stars on the menu. So let's get started. First thing we're going to need to do is obviously create a new button for our custom night. For that, I'm just going to duplicate our new game button and call it custom night button. Come into costumes, and we're going to name it custom night. Just kind of stretch out the button a little bit. Center it. And then I'm going to grab the X. Going to delete these, keep the no action, duplicate our custom night, and we have to get that X back. Call it mouse. Cool. Upon showing up, we have to figure out where on screen we want the custom night button to appear. I think right here will work perfectly fine. So get on menu screen, we gotta make sure it's going to the correct position. No mouse, and then if we see, start the just fine. Fantastic. Now we have to decide what happens when we click it. So when we click it, we don't want any of these night things to start, right? Don't want them to start. So we'll hold these off and throw them away. Instead of a broadcast to a fade, we don't want to broadcast to fade. All we want to do is set it to no action and stop the script. And then we will need to make a broadcast for the custom night screen. So let's go to our events tab, grab a broadcast, and change this broadcast to custom night screen. You can also feel free to hide it. Fantastic. Change this night screen, or keep the night screen, because that's what we need. And then also grab another one just in case and do custom night screen. You don't really need to since it says it here. This is just kind of an in case. Now we need to actually create the custom night screen. So I'm just going to duplicate our menu screen like we've been doing. Move it all the way down underneath game over and call this custom night screen. Change this text to say custom night. Now put it in the middle, make it seem a little bit nicer. And now here comes the fun part, something that you might find enjoyable, actually designing the custom night. So, what I'd recommend doing is making a black box with an outline and no fill. Make the square for it, for each of your characters. I'll put them like right here. Make one, make another. Oop, don't move the background. And I'll make one more. There. Spacing's a little uneven. We'll grab them then all. Center them. Just like that. I have 4 characters. You might have more. You do this as many times as you'd like. I did forget. Moving these guys down a little bit. I'm going to put their names above their heads. I'd encourage you to do the same. Okay, fantastic. Now, the backgrounds I'd recommend making a slightly brighter color. So for this fill, you can do a light gray with no outline and make sure it lines up with the squares. Duplicate them and put them on top of the squares. Okay, Then grab every single square by holding down shift and clicking each one, and then moving them backwards until they are behind the lines you made. This one hasn't done it. There. Now you've separated the background of the box from the actual outline, and that will make sense why in a moment. Now we have to throw the characters inside, actually. So I'm going to come to my camera screens, and I'm just going to grab my character. I'm going to grab Ugly, come to the custom night screen. I'm going to paste Ugly in. I'm going to shrink him down. I'm going to put him inside of this box. I guess I should put him inside of Ugly's box, shouldn't I? Like this. I'm going to group him just in case. Then you're just going to move him backwards up until he's in front of that gray box, but he's still below the outline. So there he is. And then I'm going to do that with the rest of them, and I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. So this is what I got it looking like. Everything looks great. I think it looks fantastic. Now we're going to work on adding in the arrows. So we're going to make a new sprite and call these custom night arrows. And for this, I'm just going to make this a slightly lighter gray box with no outline. And we're going to put an arrow in there. You can do that just by using the pixel font and using a less than or greater than symbol to make the arrow. Perfect. You're going to duplicate this. Well, let's name it left, duplicate it, name it right, and just flip horizontally to get that left and right arrow in the same sprite. Now, let's figure out a size that we like. This is too big, I feel. So I will switch this to maybe 50. 50 looks nice. We could probably go a little bit higher, 60. Let's go with 60. I like 60. So now I have to figure out where each of these arrows go. So I'm going to start with a left arrow on here, and then I'll do, so the way I'm going to set it up is left arrow, right arrow, left arrow, right arrow, left arrow, right arrow, left arrow, right arrow. Set it up however you want. I think that's easier for me though. So let's put this left arrow where we need it. I'll say right here. So it lines up pretty well, but is in just a little bit. That's how I like it. So let's start this. So in events, when I receive a menu screen, we will hide, stop other scripts in the sprite, and delete this clone. Since we are going to be cloning this arrow, so the delete this clone needs to be there. Then we will say when I receive custom night screen, we will run a block called generate arrows. Click run without screen refresh and click OK. Put generate arrows right underneath, and now we will define what generate arrows does. The reason why we put it in a block like this is because it'll run without screen refresh and you won't watch every arrow show up. They'll just all appear at the same time. Underneath generate arrows, we will need a variable. Let's make a new variable for this sprite only called I. And we will set I to 0. In our control tab, we will grab a repeat. So we have 4 characters, 2 arrows each. 4 times 2 is 8. So repeating 8 times. We will set we will change I by 1 and create a clone of myself. Then, when I start as a clone, we will check what costume you are. If I equals 1, which is our first left arrow on Rope Man, exactly where we want it, we will go to the position that it's at and switch its costume to left. You'll duplicate it again. If I is 2, we will now set up the new location. I'll say right about there. Yep. -143. right. Duplicate it. 3 and 4. 3 will need to be right about here. Negative 95. Left. 4. Right about here. Duplicate again. 5 and 6. 5 is going to be right about here at 24. The other here at about 97. And then there's 2 more sets. You can set this last if else to just an else. 7 and 8. 7 will be right about at 143. And 8 will be right about at 215. And then right after all this, you'll just write show. Let's hit the green flag and see what it does when we go to custom night. Ah, nothing happens. Okay, so we forgot to actually set the normal things on screen to go away. So on title screen ugly, we'll duplicate this. On newspaper, hit custom night screen. Grab this, we'll drag that into the new game button. We'll drag it into the continue button. And that's all we should need to drag it into. Let's take a look. Hit custom night. There we go. The arrows show up, but we're on the wrong backdrop. So in our custom night button, we will switch the backdrop to custom night screen. Try again. And there we go. It shows up how it should. Now we have to get the numbers for every character. This part's really easy. We're going to create a new sprite. We are going to call this custom night numbers. Just going to make this are pretty close to white. About 90. Going to go back to our sans serif. We're just going to type every single number and center it. And name each sprite as we go. All the way up to 20. I'll be back once this is done. Okay, here I have every single number from 0 to 20. You'll see that my 20 isn't perfectly centered, but that's alright because my 0 is. So, now, while in the custom night screen, the custom night screen, I'm going to just hide the static so that I can move these numbers where I want them to be. I'm going to use 20 as the actual number because I want 20 to be centered when it's in the middle. So let's figure out where all these numbers need to go. I think 20 looks good right there. Now we can start the custom night number code. So in events, we will grab when I receive menu screen. As per usual, we will stop other scripts in this sprite, hide, and delete this clone. Now we will need to say when I receive custom night screen, and we will generate the numbers, just like the buttons. Generate numbers, tick run without screen refresh. Generate numbers, and now we will define what generate numbers does. Generate numbers, we will need a variable called I, that is for this sprite only. We will set I to 0. Grab a repeat. This time there's 4 characters, 1 number per character, so 4 times. we will set I, change I by 1, and create a clone of myself. When I start as a clone, you'll grab these ifs, say if equals 1, meaning if I equals 1, we will go to the position we want it to go to. Then, if it's 2, we have to regenerate where it's supposed to go. I think right there looks just fine. Negative 63. Move it to the next one. 55. And uno más, one more. 175. Set this last if else to just a normal if because we don't need any more. And then show. And we will need to switch costume to whatever their AI levels are. So, what we will need to do is run some more ifs. We're going to put a repeat until underneath, and then we will grab a switch costume to. Switch costume to item, come to variables, grab I of character AI levels. So if it was 2, it'd be 0, but it'd change every time. If you want something for fun, you can have it randomly generate the numbers each time, just by coming underneath this when I receive custom night screen. You can say set, oh, not set, this is not a variable. You would say replace item 1 of character AI levels with pick random 1 through 20. And then you can do this with every other character. And then after that, you can generate the numbers, just for some fun. Let's take a look and see how it looks. Custom night. Boom, it sets each character to a random number, and you can see those numbers. Generate it again, generate some more random numbers. Bam, super fun, just like that. So, now what we need to do is actually make sure that the arrows do something. So come to custom night buttons, and underneath this show, we'll grab a repeat until and put it underneath the show. Inside of this repeat until, we will check if and we will say if we are touching mouse pointer and the mouse is down, then we will wait until not mouse down. Once that is done, we will have to check which arrow we're actually touching, right? So we will say an if else and check if I equals 1, which is Rope Man's left arrow, we will have to replace item 1, Rope Man is 3. We checked here. This is why we write these kind of comments, so we can always come back and check what our lists mean. So our first character on the custom night is Rope Man, and Rope Man is our 3rd AI number. So replace item 3, replace Rope Man AI levels with, grab a minus, and say item 3 of AI levels, right, which is Rope Man, minus 1. Okay? But first we have to check if not equals, so we'll check if Rope Man's AI level is not 0. Right? Because if it's 0, we can't set his AI level to -1. We have to set it down to 0 as the smallest. So if it's not 0, we will change it by -1. If it is 0, we will not change it by -1. We'll duplicate what we made. And if I is 2, or Rope Man's right arrow, Then we'll have to check if his AI is not 20, since we're increasing his number, because it can't go above 20. And that will just be changing this minus to a plus. There you go. Duplicate that what we have there. Change this to 3 and 4, which is Bean Chick. Bean Chick is number 2. So switch all these 3s to 2s, and switch all these 3s to 2s, and that's all you need to do. There's Bean Chick. Duplicate it again. This is 5 and 6, which I made ugly, and ugly is 1. And then one more time. Duplicate this. Set this final if else just to an if. And make 7 and 8. Bucket Boy, which is 4 for me. So switch all these 1s to 4s. Fantastic. Let's go in and see if the arrows work. As we can see, they do not work currently, so let's figure out why. So I found our problem. Inside of our custom night numbers, we just said to set it to I. Well, if 1 is supposed to be Rope Man, because that's where he is, we know that 1 is really ugly, and that's where our problem is coming from. At least one of our problems. So the way we can fix this is by grabbing an if-else and saying if equals 1, if our I equals 1, then we will switch costume to item 3 of the AI levels, because 1 is supposed to be Rope Man, but 1 is really 3 on the AI levels. Duplicate it. If it's 2, Bean Chick, we know Bean Chick is 2. If it's 3, we know that is Ugly, which is 1. And if it's 4, we know that's Bucket Boy, which is 4. So that solves one of our issues of our numbers not actually displaying correctly. Boop. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. If we look right now, we will see that every number is still not quite correct. You can see that Rope Man is supposed to be 13, but he's listed as 12. So, as you can see, our issue is that every time we generate a number, we'll see that Rope Man is supposed to be 17, but he's 16. This is because that if we want to say to set the number to 17, let's look at what costume 17 is. 17 is actually the number 16. All we have to do to fix this is grab an addition symbol, put our character AI in the addition symbol, and put a 1 in front of it. Duplicate that into every single one. Perfect. Now let's take a look. We can now see Rope Man is 17, 17, Bean Chick should be 10, Ugly should be 20, Bucket Boy should be 5, and they are. And if we interact with these arrows, you will see that they do what they should do. 0 is the lowest, and as I click, I can't go any lower. 20 is the highest, and as I click, I can't go any higher. You should see that that's the same for all of the characters. Fantastic. And that also automatically sets their AI level. Let's move on to the next part. The next part is actually putting up the Start Night button. This is really easy. We're going to duplicate our new game button and say Start Night button. Again, it's just about changing what these say. So Start Night. Extend this out a little bit. Fantastic, here we go. Let's get into the custom night screen so we can see exactly where we want this button to show up. So the button, I'll put it down in this corner right here. Just like that. And now let's set that up. So since this button does not appear on the menu screen, we actually want this menu screen to stop a description of sprite and hide. And then the custom night screen is what actually makes it show up and go to its position that we want it to go to. There we go. Upon clicking it, we will set the night to 7, since that is our custom night. And then if we look at 1 of background info, reason for fade, we don't even need 1, since we are not going to be fading. We're just going to be cutting right to the continue. So if you look at our continue button and how that works, it broadcasts us right to the night screen. So that's all we have to do. Set the night to what we need it to, and say broadcast night screen. Don't forget to save. All right, now let's think about what needs to be deleted upon night screen. Right here we have night screen. I'm going to add a delete this clone to it. Night screen will have to be put on our custom night arrows and our custom night numbers so that all of the costumes and clones get deleted. Fantastic, let's go in, hit the green flag, hit custom night. Let's set all of our characters to 20, 20, 20, 20, and see what happens as we play the night. We hit start night, night 7, and we can see in here that they will be on the move. Look at that, they're all moving at lightning speeds. Look at that, they're all moving just as they should. Everyone's where they should be. And soon they'll be at the door and going crazy just as we planned it to be. Fantastic, there is our custom night all set up actually. However, I know you want some more fun stuff in our custom night, so let me show you how to set up some fun minigame modes, just like from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. We will need some more arrows. So, what are we going to have these arrows for? Well, let me explain. So, I'm going to hide this, and we're going to make some more arrows. So, these arrows are going to be down here, where you'll be able to scroll through and look at custom minigame modes. So, I'll make these arrows a little bit bigger. Well, no, I won't. So, we need to make 2 more arrows, so we'll change this repeat to a 10. I'll set this final if statement back to an else, and duplicate this, change this to 9, and I want 9 to be right here. Maybe move it down just a little bit. So let me set that up, -44 and -158. Facing left, and then 1 more, and I'll block this one off to normal if 10 to face right. I want it way over here. At 226, -158. Cool. If you check that, see that those arrows appear where they should. Fantastic. So, now we need to set up what these arrows do. We have to come up with some minigame modes. So I'm going to create a new sprite and call this custom night mode names. And now we will come up with some mode names. We could do one and call it the rope night. We can make this text pretty big. Well, maybe not too big. Center it and put it down here, right in between the arrows. And rope night could be the letters in rope changed to numbers. So I'll call this rope night. So let's start coding. When I receive menu screen, we will stop other scripts in the sprite and hide. When I receive custom night screen, we'll switch the costume to rope night, and we will go to 94, -159. Okay, so let's set up how this will be figured out. So we will obviously need this text to show, of course. We will need to make a variable that tells us which mode we are currently selected on. So let's make a variable and call this custom night mode. Upon a custom night screen, we will need to set the custom night mode to 0. Ergo, when we start, there's no custom night mode selected. So let's actually set this first costume to no mode. Set the second one to rope night. No mode will not have. No mode will simply have the word custom. No mode will simply have no words inside of it. Great. We will need to switch the costume to custom night mode, which if it's 0, again, doesn't exist. So make sure you grab a plus and put 1 inside of it. Fantastic. We're going to move the go-to and the show above the switch costume and put a repeat until inside of around the switch costume too. Let's go into the custom night arrows and set up what these should do. Open up this last if to an if else, and I'll make a new I. If I is 9, meaning this arrow right here, we will need to check if not custom night mode equals 0. So custom night mode 0, we will make say custom. Back to our arrow. When this arrow, this left arrow here is clicked, we will need to check if custom night mode is not 0. If it is 0, or if it is not 0, then we will need to change the custom night mode by -1. Duplicate this and close off this if else. If it is 10, we will need to check if custom night mode is not whatever the maximum number of your custom nights are. So let's make all of our custom nights real quick. So we have the rope night. I'll make the bean night. I can't do the ugly night since U is a pretty low letter of the alphabet. I actually don't know. Is U higher than 20? Let me check. Yeah, it is. U is higher than 20. But what we could do is just set U to 20. So the bean night, the ugly night. Make sure you're centering all of these, by the way. The ugly night. I'm going to do the all 5s, let's say. All 5s. Let's do an all 10s. And all 15s. And all 20 mode, we're just going to obviously call 420 mode. I'm going to make a few more just for fun, for people that actually end up playing this game, because I know some of you weirdos will and will 100% it because you're weird. let's say, let's make a husband and wife mode. It's a little big. I could just say husband wife. Husband wife. Brother's night. The bros. And yeah, I'll make these the nights. I'll make these all of the nights. I'm gonna move 420 mode to the end since it's the hardest one. Okay, cool. So 11 is my highest mode. So in our arrows, we will obviously need to set custom night mode. If it's not 11, then we'll change the custom to 1. Or by 1. Cool. And then obviously upon touching these, we'll actually need to set the numbers, right? So we will create a block called set custom night numbers. Run it without the screen refresh, and put this underneath both of these. So this is where we will define what each night actually does. So if we have a custom, so if we have the rope night, okay, so if equals 1, if our custom night mode equals 1, that is rope night, we will need to set these numbers accordingly. So I'm going to put them in order. So I'm going to replace character levels, place. So 3 is first, then 2, then 1, then 4, because of just how I have them laid out here. I'm gonna put them in like this. So I only do figure out which each of these are. So that'll set Rope Man to 18, Bean Chick to 15, Ugly to 16, and Bucket Boy to 5. Second night that we came up with is the Bean Night, which would set Rope Man to 2, Bean Chick to 5, Ugly to 1, and Bucket Boy to 14. The third night is Ugly Night, which would set Rope Man to 20, Bean Chick to 7, Ugly to 12, and Bucket Boy to 20 as well. Then we came up with, I think, all 5. Is this where I started doing alls? Yeah, this is. So all 5s really just sets them all to 5. All 10s sets them all to 10. All 15s sets them all to 15s. Okay, and then the next one isn't all 20. The next one is actually, what am I doing? Husband and wife. Husband and wife. Which is these two at 0 and these two at 15. Or should I raise them up more? Let's raise them up both to like... Let's set Bean Chick to 18, Ugly to... no, let's set them both to 20. Bean Chick and Ugly to 20. Then the next one is Brother's Night, or the Brother Night, which sets Rope Man and Bucket Boy to 20. Husband, wife. Oh, wait, I didn't set this to the right name. Brother's Night. Bros in 420 mode. Okay. That's Brothers Night. Then we have the Bros, which adds ugly. And then finally, you have all 20 mode. Yeah, all 20 mode. And that's the last one that I have made. You can make a bunch more, have a lot of fun with it. More characters, the more stuff you can do, but you know how it goes. So there. That'll set all of their numbers every time you press one. But now we need to have it set back to custom when you mess with a number, right? So in each of these, we will just have you set custom night mode to 0 and just put these in each of these first normal replaces, like when you're setting the numbers yourself. Just like this. Except in 9. Cool. If we take a look, see it's custom. We change it. Rope Night, it sets them all. Bean Night. Ugly Night. All 5s, all 10s, all 15s. Husband and Wife. Oh, Husband and Wife is backwards, actually. Husband and Wife is backwards. Should be these middle two. Brothers Night. Ooh, what are we missing? All 15s. And then it's Husband and Wife. 8. 8 is Husband and Wife. Ooh. Oh, here's where I messed up. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, there we go. Let's try that again. Okay, custom Rope Night, Bean Night, Ugly Night, all 5s, all 10s, all 15s, Husband and Wife, Brothers Night, the Bros, and 420 mode. And it goes back to custom, so we'll have to do something about that. Well, that doesn't really super matter too much. Custom, then way at the end is also custom. But if you got the Bros and you change one, like this one can't be changed, so it doesn't matter. But if you add Bean Chick, it sets your thing to custom. Fantastic. Now you have a bunch of fun modes that autocomplete for players. The next logical step would be to add your star system. So let's set up the stars. First thing we need to do is actually make a star. So let's come in here and let's say stars. So you can upload a picture of a star. You can like upload a costume. You can choose a costume. Let's see if Scratch actually has a good star. I don't have one picked out. That's a really bad star. That's a terrible, awful star. I'm gonna be real. Very bad star. So what we can do is, let's say I just grab like a copy-paste star symbol. Does that work? It does. Okay, cool. Found it. Okay, cool. And I'll just set this to like a yellow, like a star is. Okay, cool. There's my star. So we obviously want stars in the menu, right? I'll put them up here. Right, star. So you get a star. So let's go over what stars you can collect. We're gonna make a whole list for this. So let's make a list called Stars Collected. Okay. Inside of Stars Collected, let's go over the stars. We obviously want a Night 5 star, Night 6 star, and then what are the other stars we want? We want, and these are menu screen stars. We will have custom night stars, but we want menu screen stars. We could have a star for completing 420 mode, as well as having another one inside custom night, and then a final star for beating every single mode. I think that could be fun. So 4 stars total. Let's in here, copy this, and change character eye levels to stars collected. Stars collected, there happens to be 4, so that stays the same. We just have to rename these. So I'll rename 1 to 5th night, 2 6th night, 3 420 mode, and for all custom modes. Look at that. So there we go. Now, let's change how this works. Inside of our stars sprite, we will need to grab a when I receive menu screen. We will have to check some stuff. We will say if equals say if item 1 of stars collected equals 1, meaning we have the star. Also, I'm going to keep this an if. Then we will go to wherever we need this to go. Mine is 152 and 158. And create a clone of myself. Then we need to decide how far the next one's going to be. So 10, 20, 30. 30 spaces looks just fine. So that's cool. Then we need to check if item 2 of stars collected is 1. If it is, go to here and create a clone of myself. 1, 2, 3. Inside of here. If 3 is 1, go to -92 and do the same thing. And then the final one for the 4th star is -62. Because you won't be able to collect the second one unless the first one is collected. Because the 6th night can't happen until the 5th night happens. Custom night, right? 420 mode can't happen until the 6th night is beaten, and all of them can't happen until 420 mode is beaten. So doing it like this, it'll ensure that you can only get 1 star at a time. And that you can't unlock like the 3rd star here and not the first one, because it's just not possible. Then afterwards, obviously, show. Fantastic. I'm going to come to the new game button, and I'm going to grab night screen right here, and I'm just going to add a delete this clone to it. And we're going to drag this to the stars. Grab this night screen. We're going to duplicate it and say if we receive the custom night screen, they're also going to do that. And if we receive fade, they are also going to do that. Well, no, we don't even need that for fade. Let's take a look. We join in. There's 1 star showing. I suppose this shouldn't actually be underneath here. It should be when I start as a clone, you show. Else, when the menu screen is hit, you hide. There we go, a starless menu. Now, if we have this set all of our stars collected to 1, just to test, and we hit the menu icon, you'll see that all stars are there. Look at that, fantastic. I'm gonna set that back to 0 though. Okay, now let's cover the custom night stars. These ones get a little bit different. So, let's go to the custom night screen to see where we are going to want the star to show up. I think having the star right here would do great. You know, right next to it. Let's zoom and see how that looks. Go down a little bit. That looks much better. And even if there, the X doesn't touch the star, so it's all good. Great. Or even better, we could put them up here and have them line up, and then you could fill in the gaps. You know, I think that could look really nice. I think I'll do that, actually. So how many custom modes do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we have 10. We have 10 custom modes, so 10 stars need to fit here. So allow me to mess around here as we figured out how many we need. Cool. So I figured it out how I want the stars to show, and this is how I'm going to want them to appear. Fantastic. So we will make a new one underneath the custom night screen. So what I'm actually going to do is, since the custom night screen we have to delete the clones of the first one, I'm actually going to duplicate this star and say custom night stars. Make the custom night stars completely separate. It'll make this a little bit easier. So that we can say, when I receive menu screen, it will do this normally, and then give custom night screen what it needs. So now let's get into some different stars collected. We got to add a little bit more. So I'm going to separate this. So 5 will be rope, 6 bean, 7 ugly, 8 5, 9 10, 11 15, 12 husband wife, 13 brothers night, 14 the bros, and 15 all 20. Alright, fantastic. So now we're going to have 15 total stars. Just like that. Fantastic. Awesome. Just what we need. In custom night stars, we will now need to start checking what these are. So these are actually going to start at 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's just start with one at a time. If 5, then we will need to go to right about here. I think that's a little incorrect though, so let's line it up. Right here. Negative 45, negative 125. Else. Oh, no, we can do this. And then put an else here, right underneath, instead of underneath the create clone, since you can get these in any order that you want, so it doesn't matter if you make a blank. It doesn't really matter. So 45, we need to say plus 30, because we know that 30 is how far they will have to move. So that would be negative 15, 7, would go to 15, and just do this until you have all of your stars done. Alright, I finished up here. I added each and every one of mine. So now if we come in, you will see we go to custom night, and there are no stars. But if we were to say set our stars collected, and let's switch a few of these around, make a few of these some ones, just like that, and go into custom night, we have some stars. They're up a little high. They're up really high, and they do not need to be. So let's switch up where they need to go. Oh, that's why I forgot the 5 at the end. I forgot the 5 at the end. That would fix it. Okay, let's try this again. Set character AI level, or set stars collected. Just switch a few. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Let's head in and see. There they are. Our stars show up. That one is cut off, and I don't know why. So, we are going to make a block called generate stars. Run without screen refresh, but generate stars underneath here, and we are going to define the spawning of the stars in generate stars. We take a look, acting as if we have all of our stars activated. See, we have a nice row of stars and this little extra one. Okay, I see my issue. I see our mistake. I numbered wrong. After 9, I went straight to 11, which in theory messed up my flow of how I did things. Looking at the customized star, I added 15, which created an extra little star at the end. If we remove that, save, and take a look, we will see all of our stars generate just as they should. And if we were to start a night, if we were to start the game and say we had some of these filled in, some of these we didn't have beaten, what would that look like? There we go. We see we have some spaces in our stars because we haven't beaten all the nights yet. So let's actually set up how to achieve these stars now. So we need to have a way for you to actually win the night, which is very easy to set up. We will create a variable called time. This time will keep track of our time. Let's create a new variable and let's create a new sprite and call it time management. Inside of this variable, inside of this sprite, we will say when I receive menu screen, as per usual, hide and stop other scripts in this sprite. Then, when I receive night start, we will need it to start counting. Upon starting, we will need to set the time to 12. Then, we will wait 60 seconds. This is just how long each hour is. In FNAF 3 and 4, I know that it is 60 seconds. I think it's 90 seconds in 1 and 2. I'm not 100% sure though. You would set this to whatever you'd like. I want every hour to be 1 minute long. After that, it'll set the time to 1. Then, I will wait 60 seconds and change the time by 1. Since 12 to 1, you can't just add 1 to that. So then 1 will go to 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hit 6. So we will repeat this 5 times. Which will end us up at 6. So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then at that time, we will win the night. So broadcast night complete. Fantastic. There you go. There's your night calculation. So, if you remember, inside of our office, we have to find a way for the player to know what time it is. My office uses an actual clock. So, all I need to do is say when I receive night start, inside of this repeat until, I will move my switch costume to switch costume to time. And if we run the game normally, we will see that that stays true. At 12, it is 12, and it should change seamlessly as the night progresses. I'm not going to sit here and wait this for you while recording, so I'll be back once it changes. It's been a minute, and as you see, the clock has changed to 1 a.m. And that will do that progressively throughout the night until you're done. Let's make a new backdrop for when you complete the night. I'll just duplicate our game over screen and call it 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Great. We can now say inside of our backdrop, when I receive night complete, we will switch the backdrop to 6 a.m. and now we will need to grab a sound for our win. Here I have chosen the chill sound. I think it fits very well. I'll make it a little softer. There we go. And then we will choose to start sound chill. I want this screen to last 5 seconds, which it is an 8-second track you'll see. 8 seconds long, 5 seconds. I don't want this sound to be playing on the menu screen, so at that point, I will then stop all sounds. And then I will broadcast menu screen. Once the night is finished, this will occur. We're not actually running the game. Oh, my audio isn't playing. I'm a little slow. This will play. And then it'll bring us back right to the menu. Fantastic. A few things need to happen on the completion of a night. Those things being, when we receive night complete, we will need a few things to go away. Any static will need to go away. Any white static will need to go away. The office will need to go away. The office buttons and the doors will need to disappear and stop working. The mute button, don't know how it'd be there, but it needs to go away. The camera button, anything that runs during the night that could be showing upon a night completion. That includes all the camera buttons. Everything that can show during the night needs to stop, which also includes your character AI. Once the night is over, you're going to want the AI to stop working. There's power usage, the AI, characters. That also includes jump scares. You could win at the final end of a jump scare. Power outage winning. And there you go. Your night will now stop on completion and the night end will play. However, I'm going to do this in time management. Actually, no, I'll do this in the backdrops. Underneath night complete, what I want to do is before we broadcast the menu screen, we're going to check if you happen to complete a special night. So we will start by saying if night equals 1, or if night equals 5. If night number equals 5, then, so it's night 5 and you've completed it. You got the first star. So we need to replace item 1 of stars collected with 1. Therefore, you beat the night. If the night number is 6, you completed the second star. Now, if the night number is 7, and I am going to create 4 for each character and put an equals in here. So we need to do item. Again, we're doing this in order. So 3 for Ropeman, since he's first in our custom night screen. So item 3 of character AI levels equals whatever. So I'll just say 0 for now. And then it was Bean Chick. Oops. Then it was Bean Chick, so 2. Then it was Ugly, so 1. And then 4 for Bucket Boy. Drag this in here. Say night 7. If night equals 7, so you're on custom night, this is to make sure that there's no possible way that the AI levels just so happen to be the same as on, like, say, night 1 to one of your custom modes. So you're just making sure it's night 7 and these AIs are activated. And character 3. So the first one is the rope difficulty. Rope difficulty was the first one we made. So this would be 18, 15, 16, and 5. You completed the 5th star. If it's night 7, and we completed Bean Night, which in that case is 2, 5, 2, 5, 114, we completed the 6th night. You see what I'm doing here? I'm going to do all the custom modes, and then I'll come back to set up the rest of the main menu ones. Okay, so I finished setting up all of my fun nights, and this final one right here is all 20 mode. Right here, this is all 20 mode. All the characters are set to 20 upon beating the night. This changes number 14 of the stars collected, which again, we can just check over here, right? all 20 mode is both 14 and 3. Keep this in mind, it's 14 and it's 3. So we replace 14 and we replace 3. Look at that. And the final one we need to do is if and it will say equals 1. If item 1 of stars collected equals 1, and 2 equals 1, and 3 equals 1, and we're going to go all the way down the list to however many you have. In my case is 14. So I'll be back once that is done. Alright, I just finished here, and there's one I want to keep in mind, and that is number 4. Number 4 is the star where you collect everything, so make sure... I realized a mistake I made while I was doing this. I'm setting 1 to 1, 1 to 2. Make sure you're setting all of these 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, and so on and so forth. Don't make the same mistake that I did. I'll be right back. Okay, upon setting every single one... Oh, this needs to be 14. Upon setting every single star to 1, 14, 13, 12, all the way down, you need to make sure that number 4, or whichever star you have set to collect all stars, you get a star for collecting all stars, which in my case is this one, needs to be 0, because you won't be able to collect it if you already have it collected. Then what you need to do is replace item 4 of stars collected with 1. Because if we look, 4 is all custom modes, which is really just having everything unlocked, right? Every star unlocked, you get an extra star. Set this final if else to just an if, and make sure you put your broadcast menu screen back underneath all of that. So underneath night complete right here, right above everything here, make sure when you change night, it's not before you calculate, because if you beat night 4, it'll set your night to 5 and then check if night 5 is beaten. So make sure you change night before the menu screen occurs. Right here. Don't forget that as you change the night number, make sure you only change the night number if the night number is less than 5. Or less than 6, excuse me. Less than 6. There we go. Fantastic. Inside of this big check, to check if everything has been completed except your all night, we're going to grab that final piece. We'll close off this if statement. And we'll need to put this underneath right before the night change. Because if you're on the last night you need to complete, right? Last night, final night that needs to be beaten for you to unlock that 4th star on the title screen, which again is every other star. You'll collect the star and then it'll push you down to the bottom because it's in an else. So if you make sure that you put the check for all stars after it checks for the star you just beat, it should add that final star. And that should be everything that you need for your star system. I made everything go really fast. I made the nights go quickly and I made the night screens go fast just so we can test all of these stars out. So let's go through, beat all the nights really quickly. Night 5, we get the first star. Going into night 6, we get the second star. Let's beat the all 20 mode to get the 3rd star. And there's the star showing up here. And we beat rope night, get another star. And we have to get through every single one of these nights to get the final star. So we'll run through every single one of these. We'll do all 10s. We'll do all 15s. We'll do husband and wife. We'll do the brother's night. And yes, we will get rid of the text showing up during the night. Don't worry. And then finally, the bros. And that gives us our 4th and final star on the menu screen, as well as every single star in the custom night screen. So, last thing left to do is come into the custom night names here and broadcast this and say when I receive night screen, stop with the description sprite and hide, which will prevent them from seeing the word while playing. Next thing I want to do is also make custom night not visible unless the 6th night has been completed. So go into the custom night button and say, when I receive menu screen, we will need to check if you have the star for the 6th night, which is the 2nd star. Okay? We will have to check if equals 1 and say if item 2 of stars completed equals 1, then it'll show. If not, it won't. Therefore, and now when we press the green flag, we'll see that custom night still appears. Inside of our custom night button, we will need to grab an if else. Make this if and if else. Inside of the if else, simply grab stop other scripts in this sprite and hide. When we start the game, you'll see that that night is no longer visible until we beat night 6. Night 5 and the hidden night 6 unlocks our custom night. Perfect. Absolutely fantastic. That's all I have for this tutorial today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, then like it, and if you didn't like it, I'm sorry, but like it anyways. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in part 6, the final part of this tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. See ya!